There comes a point in life when you realize that the biggest thing standing between you and the life you want is not always a lack of talent, and not always a lack of opportunity, and not always a lack of time. Sometimes the real problem is distraction. Quiet distraction. Constant distraction. The kind that does not always look dangerous at first because it arrives as a little break, a quick scroll, a small delay, a harmless habit, a moment of comfort, a few minutes that turn into hours, and then days, and then months. One glance becomes one habit. One habit becomes a pattern. One pattern becomes a lifestyle. And before long, your energy is gone, your focus is broken, your confidence is low, and your dreams are still sitting on the shelf waiting for the version of you that keeps promising to come back tomorrow. If that sounds familiar, hear this clearly. You are not weak because you've been distracted. You are human, but you are also responsible for what happens next. The moment you see distraction for what it really is, you begin to take your power back. Distraction is not just about losing time. It is about losing direction. It is about losing emotional strength. It is about losing trust in yourself. Every time you say you will do the important thing later and then drift into something easier, you teach your mind that comfort can outrank commitment. Every time you choose noise over focus, you weaken the part of you that knows how to build. And every time you let your attention scatter, your life starts to scatter with it. The truth is simple. A focused life is a powerful life. A distracted life is an exhausted life. When your attention is split in 10 directions, even small tasks begin to feel heavy. Your mind gets tired faster. Your progress slows down. Your confidence slips. You start feeling behind, not because you're incapable, but because your energy is leaking through openings you never closed. That is why cutting distractions off at the root matters so much. You do not just want to manage the symptoms. You want to remove the source. You do not want to keep trimming the leaves of a problem that keeps growing back. You want to attack the root, the habits, the triggers, the patterns, the excuses, the emotional cravings that keep pulling you away from what matters. Look at your own life honestly. Where does the distraction begin? For some people, it begins the moment they wake up and reach for the phone before they even reach for their own thoughts. For others, it starts with fear. They avoid the task because the task might expose their weakness. For others, it starts with boredom. They do not know how to sit with the discomfort of effort, so they escape into entertainment. And for many, it starts with pain. They are tired, disappointed, frustrated, or stuck, so they look for anything that gives quick relief. The distraction itself may look different, but the root is often the same. A mind that has learned to run from discomfort. A heart that would rather be soothed than strengthened. A person who wants relief now, but is paying for it later. That is why the first step is not just deleting apps, clearing a desk, or turning off notifications. Those things can help, but they are not enough by themselves. If the root stays alive, the weed grows back. The deeper work is deciding that your future is worth more than your impulses, that your goals matter more than your mood, that your peace matters more than constant stimulation, that your strength matters more than temporary comfort. This decision changes everything, because once you truly respect your future, distractions begin to lose their charm. They still call to you, but they do not own you. They still appear, but they do not decide for you. You become harder to pull away from your own life. Most people do not realize how expensive distraction is. It steals confidence slowly. It steals focus quietly. It steals momentum daily. It steals the energy you need for deep work, real growth, and meaningful progress. It also steals self-respect. That part hurts the most, because every time you break a promise to yourself, even a small one, something inside you weakens. You start trusting your intentions less. You start believing your own word less. You start saying, I know what to do, but I just cannot get myself to do it. That sentence can become a prison if you let it stay there too long. But it does not have to stay there. You can learn how to become someone who follows through. The root of distraction is often emotional dependence. We reach for distraction when we want to avoid discomfort, silence, loneliness, pressure, uncertainty, or the feeling that we are not enough. We reach for it when life feels heavy and we want instant relief. And there is the trap. Relief is not the same as healing. Comfort is not the same as progress. Entertainment is not the same as recovery. Sometimes the thing that soothes you today is the thing that weakens you tomorrow. So if you want to cut distraction off at the root, you have to become honest about what you're trying to escape. Are you escaping boredom? Are you escaping fear? Are you escaping the possibility of failure? Are you escaping the hard work required to change? Until you answer that honestly, distraction will keep finding a way in. Discipline begins where excuse-making ends. That does not mean you become cold or robotic. It means you become awake. You stop living on autopilot. You stop letting your environment dictate your actions. You stop confusing impulse with identity. A distraction is often just a signal that your mind has not been trained yet to stay with discomfort long enough to produce something valuable. And that training can begin today. Not someday. Not after the perfect plan. Today. Right now. With the next decision. The next moment. The next choice to stay present when your mind wants to wander. The next choice to finish what you started. The next choice to sit down and do the work before you reward yourself with anything else. It helps to understand that focus is not only mental. It is emotional. It is environmental. It is habitual. If your surroundings are full of triggers, your mind will keep getting interrupted. If your phone is always nearby, your attention will keep getting stolen. If your day has no structure, your energy will leak into whatever feels easiest. If your schedule is random, your life will feel random. So one way to cut distraction at the root is to create a life that makes focus easier. Put barriers around the things that pull you away. Make the wrong choice harder. Make the right choice easier. Do not trust willpower alone. Build systems. Build routines. Build boundaries. A strong system can protect you on weekdays. And yes, there will be weekdays. There will be days when you do not feel sharp, motivated, or inspired. There will be moments when the old habits come back with full force. That is not a reason to quit. That is a reason to stay honest. Because your life will not be transformed by the days when everything feels easy. It will be transformed by the days when you choose discipline while tired. That is the real test. When your emotions say escape, and you say stay. When your body says later, and you say now. When your habits say relax, and you say finish this first. Each time you do that, you cut a little deeper into the root. Each time you do that, distraction loses power. The modern world makes distraction easy. It is designed that way. Everything is fast, bright, loud, and available. You can get lost in 100 tiny hits of pleasure without ever building anything that lasts. You can spend all day consuming and still have nothing to show for it except fatigue. That is why so many people feel overwhelmed. Their attention has been pulled apart. Their mind has been trained to jump. Their patience has been weakened. Their ability to sit still long enough to create has been damaged by endless stimulation. But this is not the end of the story. You can retrain yourself. You can reclaim your attention. You can teach your mind to stay. You can build back your focus one decision at a time. Start by being brutally honest about what keeps stealing your time. Maybe it is social media. Maybe it is random videos. Maybe it is endless texting. Maybe it is overthinking. Maybe it is comparison. Maybe it is fear dressed up as research. Maybe it is the habit of checking everything except the one thing that actually matters. Whatever it is, name it. Do not romanticize it. Do not defend it. Do not call it harmless if it keeps costing you hours, peace, and progress. Once you name the distraction, you strip away some of its power. You stop treating it like a mystery and start treating it like a problem to solve. Then ask a deeper question. What is the life I am building when I keep doing this? Because every repeated distraction builds a future, even if it is not the future you want. Every repeated focus builds a future too. So you are always choosing. You are always training something. If you train your mind to be scattered, it will become scattered. If you train your mind to return, it will become stronger. If you train your mind to obey impulse, impulse will run your life. If you train your mind to obey purpose, purpose will start running your life. That is the decision in front of you. One of the most powerful moves you can make is to slow down the first moment of temptation. Most distractions win because they are immediate. They do not ask for a huge commitment. They ask for one click, one look, 1 minute, one break, one excuse. But if you can pause in that first moment and breathe, you create space. In that space, you regain choice. You remind yourself that you are not required to obey every urge. You can feel the pull and still choose differently. That single pause can change your entire day. It is small, but it is strong. It is the beginning of self-mastery. Another powerful move is to build a clear start to your day. A chaotic morning often leads to a chaotic mind. If you begin your day by reacting to noise, you train your brain to stay reactive. But if you begin with purpose, even in a simple way, you set the tone. Wake up, get up, drink water, make your bed, wash your face, sit down, plan the day. Start the most important task before the world gets loud. That kind of beginning is not glamorous, but it is effective. It tells your mind that you are in charge now. Not the phone, not the feed, not the mood. You are. You also need to get comfortable with the feeling of missing out, because cutting distraction at the root means you will stop chasing every update, every trend, every message, every little thing that demands your attention. At first, that can feel uncomfortable. You may worry that you are falling behind. You may feel the urge to check what others are doing. You may feel restless when the noise is gone. That is normal, but that discomfort is a sign that you are detoxing from constant stimulation. Stay with it. Do not run back to the old patterns just because silence feels unfamiliar. Silence is where your focus grows back. There is a deeper reward waiting on the other side of distraction, and that reward is self-trust. When you can sit down and stay with your work, you start trusting yourself. When you can finish instead of flee, you start respecting yourself. When you can say no to a passing urge, you start feeling stronger in your own skin. Self-trust is one of the greatest forms of confidence. It does not come from compliments. It comes from proof. Proof that you can be consistent. Proof that you can keep your attention where it belongs. Proof that you can choose what is right over what is easy. If your attention has been weak for a long time, do not shame yourself. Shame can keep you stuck. Instead, start rebuilding. Very small at first if needed. 10 focus minutes, then 15, then 25, then 45. Build your attention like a muscle. Do not expect a lifetime of scattered habits to disappear in a day. Expect progress, not magic. Expect effort, not perfection. Every time you return your mind to the task, you are training strength. Every time you notice the urge to drift and bring yourself back, you are winning. That one matters more than most people realize. It is the quiet beginning of a more powerful life. You may also need to change the stories you tell yourself. If you keep saying, "I have no discipline," your mind will accept that as identity. If you keep saying, "I always get distracted," your behavior will keep proving it. So change the language. Say, "I am learning to focus." Say, "I can improve my attention." Say, "I am becoming harder to pull away from my purpose." Say, "I can build a stronger mind." Words matter because they shape the emotional tone behind your actions. You do not need fake hype. You need honest power. Honest power says, "This is hard, but I can grow stronger." And growth is the point. Not just fewer distractions, but a stronger version of you. A version that can work deeply. A version that can think clearly. A version that can stay steady under pressure. A version that does not panic every time life gets quiet. A version that understands boredom is not a threat. It is often a doorway. In boredom, creativity returns. In boredom, clarity returns. In boredom, focus gets a chance to breathe. So do not be afraid of empty space. Sometimes empty space is exactly what your mind needs to heal from overload. There is power in making your environment respect your goals. Put your phone away when you work. Turn off the extra tabs. Remove easy access to what keeps hijacking your mind. Tell people when you are unavailable. Protect the hours that matter. Do not let your day be open for random interruption. A disciplined life has edges. It has boundaries. It has rules that defend what is important. Those boundaries are not there to make life smaller. They are there to make life stronger. When you protect your focus, you protect your future. But focus is not only about removing. It is also about choosing. Choosing what matters most. Choosing the one thing that deserves your best energy right now. Choosing to finish before you switch. Choosing depth over noise. Choosing growth over comfort. Choosing long-term strength over short-term stimulation. These choices may feel boring at first, but boring choices often build extraordinary outcomes. The world celebrates dramatic moments, but real success is built in quiet repetition. Quiet repetition is where the roots go deep. Quiet repetition is where distractions lose their grip. Quiet repetition is where your future gets built in private. Think about how often your mind tries to convince you that you need a break from the work before you have even started. That is a common trap. The brain wants immediate relief. It wants the easiest path. But if you keep obeying the demand for constant relief, you will never build tolerance for effort. And tolerance for effort is one of the keys to success. The people who move forward are not always the ones with the least resistance. They are the ones who learn how to keep going through it. They learn that discomfort is not danger. It is often the price of expansion. So the next time you feel the pull toward distraction, ask yourself one sharp question. What is this costing me? Cost is powerful because it makes the invisible visible. It reminds you that every moment spent away from your purpose is a moment you do not get back. Every hour lost to mindless habit is an hour you could have used to build, to learn, to heal, to earn, to improve. That does not mean every rest is bad. Rest is necessary, but random escape is not rest. Recovery is not avoidance, and peace is not the same as distraction. Learn the difference. It matters. A lot of people believe they need more motivation to become focused. In reality, they need less noise. Motivation is often buried under overload. Once the mind calms down and the environment changes, motivation has room to breathe again. Focus creates momentum. Momentum creates satisfaction. Satisfaction creates more focus. It becomes a cycle that strengthens you. The more you work without constant interruption, the easier work becomes. The more you finish, the more you want to finish. The more you protect your time, the more valuable your time feels. That is why cutting distractions at the root changes so much. It changes your relationship with effort itself. Remember, this is not about becoming a machine. It is about becoming intentional. You can still laugh. You can still rest. You can still enjoy life. But you do it with control, not compulsion. You choose rather than being pulled. That is freedom. A distracted person is often busy, but not free. A focused person has fewer scattered hours and more meaningful ones. That is why a focused life often feels calmer. There is less guilt, less unfinished business, less mental clutter, less self-betrayal, more peace, more clarity, more confidence, more movement toward the life you keep saying you want. The root of distraction cannot be cut with a single dramatic speech. It is cut with repeated choices, repeated honesty, repeated discipline, repeated returns. Every time you come back to the task, you cut a little deeper. Every time you resist the easy escape, you weaken the old pattern. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen the new one. And the new one becomes your identity. It takes time, but it works. It really works. That is the encouraging part. You are not trapped. You are trainable. Your attention can improve. Your focus can improve. Your life can improve. So start today, not tomorrow. Today, pick one distraction that keeps draining you and put a real barrier in front of it. Pick one important goal and give it a protected block of time. Pick one habit that builds your strength and repeat it with seriousness. Then do it again tomorrow and again after that. Let your actions speak louder than your impulses. Let your schedule prove your priorities. Let your boundaries protect your future. You do not need to become perfect. You need to become consistent enough that distraction stops ruling your direction. If you stay with this long enough, your life will begin to feel different. Your mind will become quieter. Your effort will become sharper. Your confidence will become more solid. You will notice that you can sit down and stay with hard things without immediately reaching for escape. You will notice that you can finish more of what you start. You will notice that your attention is no longer leaking everywhere. That change is not small. That change is a new foundation. And once the foundation changes, everything built on top of it changes too. That is the power of cutting distractions off at the root. You stop living as a reaction. You start living as a decision. You stop letting the day pull you around. You start directing the day. You stop asking for a life with more results while keeping the same habits. You start becoming the kind of person whose habits can support the results you want. This is how momentum is born. This is how self-respect returns. This is how a scattered life becomes a strong one. And it begins with one honest choice to stay focused. You may be surprised by how much stronger your life becomes when your attention stops bleeding out in tiny pieces. The hours you used to lose are not small. They were the space where your next level should have been built. They were the space where your mind should have learned to solve problems. Your hands should have learned a skill, and your heart should have learned patience. That is why reclaiming focus is not a minor upgrade. It is a rescue mission. It is you going back to the places where your strength leaked out and sealing them shut. The first few days will not always feel beautiful. In fact, they may feel awkward, slow, and uncomfortable. That is normal. When a person has been living with constant distraction, silence can feel too loud. A steady task can feel too heavy. A simple routine can feel strange. Do not panic when that happens. It does not mean the process is wrong. It means the process is working. Your system is adjusting. Your mind is detoxing. Your habits are resisting. That resistance is temporary, but the progress you build through it can last. One of the smartest things you can do is make your next right action painfully obvious. Do not leave your day open to decision fatigue. Decide in advance what matters most. Decide when you will work. Decide where you will work. Decide what gets your first energy. Decide what gets removed. The more decisions you make before the moment of temptation, the less power temptation has. Clarity reduces chaos. Structure reduces friction. A clear plan is not a guarantee of success, but it removes a lot of unnecessary struggle. And in a distracted world, removing struggle is a win. You do not have to solve your entire life before you can focus. You only need enough clarity to take one honest step. Sometimes that step is opening the document you have been avoiding. Sometimes it is closing the app that keeps hijacking you. Sometimes it is replying to the message that would move your work forward. Sometimes it is sitting in discomfort without escaping into noise. Sometimes it is simply staying with the task until the timer ends. Small acts of control become powerful because they are repeatable. Repeatable actions become habits. Habits become identity. Identity shapes a future. The root of distraction is often a tired mind trying to escape pressure. So give your mind better support. Sleep well enough to think clearly. Eat in a way that keeps your energy steady. Move your body so your brain can breathe. Spend time away from screens so your senses can reset. None of these things are glamorous, but they matter. People often want a more focused life without building the conditions that support focus. That does not work for long. Attention is not just a feeling. It is a state your whole life helps create. Respect that. If you keep returning to the old habit, do not interpret that as proof that you are hopeless. Interpret it as a signal. Something in your environment, emotions, or routine is still too loose. Look for the opening. Maybe the opening is a stressful night. Maybe it is loneliness after work. Maybe it is the moment right after a hard conversation. Maybe it is the first hour of the morning. Find the opening and close it. The goal is not to hate yourself into change. The goal is to understand yourself well enough to build a stronger path. This is where many people miss the point. They fight distraction like it is only a character flaw, but often it is a system problem too. A person who keeps losing focus may not need more shame. They may need fewer triggers. They may need a cleaner environment. They may need a smaller list for the day. They may need a stronger start and a firmer stop. They may need to make their best choice easier to reach. That is wisdom. Wise people do not only use willpower. They design their lives so discipline has support. Your future deserves a version of you that can stay in the room with hard work. That can stay with the problem until it is solved. That can stay calm when the reward is delayed. That can stay honest when the temptation to drift is strong. Those are not small traits. Those are the traits that make success durable. A person with those traits is not controlled by every feeling. They have learned how to lead themselves. That leadership starts quietly. It starts when you refuse to be pulled around by every impulse that passes through your day. There is also a deep relief that comes from being focused. When your attention is no longer scattered, your mind stops carrying so much noise. You remember what matters. You feel less guilty. You feel less divided. You stop waking up with a cloud of unfinished thoughts hanging over you. That relief is not just emotional. It is practical. It gives you back energy. It gives you back clarity. It gives you back confidence. And confidence built this way is stronger than hype because it is based on lived proof. You know what you did. You know what you resisted. You know what you completed. So keep going. Keep narrowing your life around what matters. Keep trimming the unnecessary. Keep protecting your attention. Keep asking better questions. Is this helping me build? Or is this helping me disappear? Is this moving me forward? Or is this just keeping me occupied? Is this strengthening me? Or is this quietly stealing from me? Those questions can become a compass. They can bring you back to center. They can help you choose like someone who understands the value of their own future. And if you need a final reminder, remember this. A distracted life is built by accidents, but a focused life is built by intention. Accidents happen when you stop watching your own habits. Intention happens when you decide that your life is too important to leave unguarded. From this moment on, be intentional. Protect your mind. Protect your work. Protect your peace. Protect your goals. The root can be cut, and once it is cut, the fruit of a stronger life will begin to show. The day you stop feeding distraction is the day you start feeding your future. The day you stop confusing stimulation with progress is the day your real progress begins. The day you decide that your attention has value is the day your life starts to respect you back. So keep your eyes open, keep your standards high, and keep your hands on the work that matters. Your next chapter will not be written by the noise you escape. It will be written by the focus you build. Choose focus over noise.